Hello, welcome back to our broadcast. My name is Steven Shoemaker, and today we'll be discussing some of the drawbacks and the positives of legalizing marijuana. This issue has to do with a plant well known to many. Some call it weed, some call it marijuana, some call it cannabis. What is this thing, you may ask? Marijuana is the dried flowers, leaves, and stems of the Cannabis sativa plant. The main active ingredient in marijuana is THC, delta-9 tetrahydrocannabinol. Marijuana can range from hemp, being 0 to 1% THC. It's used for fibers, hemp seed foods, hemp oil, wax, resin, rope, cloth, pulp, and fuel, to 1% to 8% THC. Hash can be 7 to 14% THC, and hash oil can be up to 50% THC. THC is a fat-soluble substance and can remain in the lungs and brain tissue for up to 3 weeks. There are over 200 nicknames for marijuana, including pot, herb, Mary Jane, and chronic. How is the substance being used? Weed is a very versatile substance. It can be smoked as a blunt, rolled, put in a pipe, or used in a vaporizer, or even consumed. The effects of smoking marijuana are felt as soon as the THC enters the bloodstream and last anywhere from 1 to 3 hours. Absorption of THC is slower if marijuana is ingested, typically producing effects 30 minutes to an hour after exposure and lasting up to 4 hours. Marijuana increases the heart rate, relaxes and enlarges bronchial passages, and dilates the blood vessels in the eyes, which may cause them to appear bloodshot. THC causes dopamine releases, which produces euphoria. Colors and sounds may seem more intense, time may appear to pass more slowly, and pleasant sensations may be experienced. Dry mouth is common, as are thirst, intense thirst, and hunger. After euphoria passes, a user may feel sleepy or depressed. There has never been a recorded case of a marijuana overdose that led to death. Let's look at the history behind marijuana. Marijuana has been used as an agent for achieving euphoria since ancient times. It was described in a Chinese medical reference traditionally considered to date from 2737 BC. Its use spread from China to India and then to North Africa and reached Europe at least as early as AD 500. The first direct reference to a cannabis product as a psychiatric agent dates from 2737 BC in the writings of the Chinese Emperor Shen Nun. The focus was on its powers as a medicinal medication for rheumatism, gout, malaria, and oddly enough, absent-mindedness. Mention was made of the intoxicating properties, but the medicinal value was considered more important. In India, though, it was clearly used recreational. The Muslims, too, used it recreationally because alcohol consumption was banned by the Quran. It was the Muslims who introduced hashish, whose popularity spread quickly through the 12th century Persia and North Africa. In 1545, the Spanish brought marijuana to the New World. The English introduced it in Jamestown in 1611, where it became a major commercial crop alongside tobacco and was grown as a source of fiber. By 1890, hemp had been replaced by cotton as a major cash crop in the southern states. Some patent medicines during this era contained marijuana, but it was a small percentage compared to the number containing opium or cocaine. It was in the 1920s that marijuana began to catch on. Some historians say it was the emergence brought about by Prohibition. Its recreational use was restricted to jazz musicians and people in the show business. Reefer songs became the rage of the jazz world. Marijuana clubs, called tea pads, sprang up in every major city. These marijuana establishments were tolerated by the authorities because marijuana was not illegal, and patrons showed no evidence of making a nuisance of themselves or disturbing the community. Marijuana was not considered a social threat. Marijuana was listed in the United States Pharmacopoeia from 1850 to 1942 and was prescribed for various conditions including labor pains, nausea, and rheumatism. Its use as an intoxicant was also a commonplace from the 1850s to the 1930s. A campaign conducted in the 1930s by the U.S. Federal Bureau of Narcotics, now the Bureau of Narcotics and Dangerous Drugs, sought to portray marijuana as a powerful, addicting substance that would lead users into narcotic addiction. It is still considered a gateway drug by some authorities, and In the 1950s, it was an accessory of the Beat Generation. In the 1960s, it was used by college students and hippies and became a symbol of rebellion against authority. The Controlled Substance Act of 1970 classified marijuana, along with heroin and LSD, as a Schedule I drug, having the relative highest abuse potential and no medical use. Now that we know some of the facts about marijuana, we can start to develop our own standpoint on whether or not legalizing marijuana is the correct thing to do. To start our thought process going, let's compare it to other drugs. Let's take heroin, for example. Marijuana and heroin are placed on the same level of consequence when caught with these substances. Here are some effects of heroin. Mental functioning becomes clouded due to the depression of the central nervous system, respiratory depression, constricted pinpoint pupils, and nausea. Effects of heroin may also include slow and shallow breathing, hypotension, muscle spasms, convulsions, coma, and possible death. Let's think logically here. One of these causes our users to lay on the couch and relax, eat a lot of food, and cause sleepiness, while the other causes serious side effects that may result in death. Both are considered legal, and users suffer the same consequences if caught under the influence or have it in their system. Let's compare it to a legal drug now. Yes, this drug is alcohol. You may not think of alcohol as a drug, but if we were to look at the effects of alcohol versus the effects of other drugs, they parallel quite a lot. As we go into this, let's remember that alcohol is legal and you can purchase it at your local liquor store or even grocery shop. Some of the effects of alcohol may include, but are not limited to, headaches, vomiting, nausea, aches and pains, weight gain, high blood pressure, depression, immune system, liver disease, alcohol poisoning, heart or respiratory failure, violence, impulse behaviors, and many more. Now, let's look at a real-life example of the effects of marijuana to a community. This is a real-life scenario that comes from the weed capital of the world, Denver, Colorado. The day is April 20th, 2013, the famous 420. Every year on this day, marijuana users gather in Denver to use weed. Cannabis is legal to use in Colorado. Let's hear from this man who I interviewed, who was there on this day. Hello, sir. What is your name?
My name is Micah, and I live in Pennsylvania.
So, as you have stated, you were in Denver on the day 420.
Yes, in fact I was, on vacation. It's a beautiful city.
Could you describe some of the things you saw during your stay there?
Well, we were walking through the city, and we didn't even know that it was 420, even know what 420 was, until we got home. My wife and I thought it was just some festival.
Can you describe the general tone of the people around you?
Well, it was very relaxed. Lots of people. Many just sitting on benches, talking, having a good time. No one was acting as if they were publicly under the influence of anything, which I thought was quite a surprise, considering what day it was when we got home.
Have you ever been to the Scranton Parade Day?
Yes, my family and go all the time.
What were some of the major differences between Parade Day and 420 in Denver?
Wow, that's a loaded question. Well, Parade Day is known for its alcohol abuse and loudness. At Parade Day, there seems to be much more public police interaction with people there. On top of that, large amount of people are publicly under the influence. Kind of a disgrace to the city of Scranton, if I do say so myself.
Well, thank you, sir, for your time. It was greatly appreciated.
My pleasure.
One of the greatest reasons for legalization of marijuana would be the boost to the economy it would cause. This past year in Colorado, the sales of marijuana has upward of $342 million. These sales are completely taxed and not under the table. These sales are incredible. They have yielded another $46 million of tax money for the state of Colorado. Along with the tax money generated, it has created hundreds of new jobs that have greatly boosted the economy. This is not the only ways that it has affected the economy. It has boosted tourism to Colorado immensely. People visit all over the country for the opportunity to relax and use marijuana worry-free on 420. Personally, I think marijuana should be legalized. It has been proven successful in many places like Colorado, so why would it not work here? If we were going to go through with this, I believe that we would see a decrease in violence from alcohol, less tax dollars being spent on incarcerating marijuana users, an increase in snack food production and sales, and a flourishing economy in general. So go out and make your voice heard. Legalize it. Now for a commercial from your local food store. Ooh. Dude, I am so hungry right now,
Oh
man.
yeah, I feel you, man.
Dude,
oh my
we should
God.
totally go to a convenience store and grab some snacks, man. Let's
do
grab
this.
some snacks.
Let's do this.
Alright,
Okay.
what do we got over here? Guacamole chips, dude.
Gotta love them.
Gotta satisfy the
Oh.
craving.
7-Up.
7-Up and Sprite. Okay,
We got
okay.
that. What else? What else we got?
Alright, we got some delicious apricots. You could satisfy some cravings with those, yep.
Japanese hot and spicy noodles.
Hot and spicy noodles, bro. We
Yeah.
can roll with that, right, man? Yeah, totally, man. Yeah. Some orange juice, dude. Roll with the orange juice.
I'm
Let's
thinking
go.
the bagels.
Bagels? Alright, dude.
Gotta love 'em.
Alright. Let's ring all this
I
up.
think we need some
Napkins for cleanup.
Yes.
Good idea, man.
Let's go.
Let's ring all this up.
Okay.
I'm sure it's going to cost a lot and give a lot of money for a government for taxes, but it's totally worth it, man. We're so hungry right now.
Alright.